Scene in Sussex. Scene in Sussex. Well, good morning. Scene in Sussex, and a good view from us on the basis that we cover as much as we possibly can, and we bring you comment and opinion all over the place. And this morning at 9:30, in approximately an hour's time, we have our Max Heard, along with Liza Page, a combination not to be tampered with. The two of them together are just sometimes more than anybody can take, including themselves. They actually have a real go at one another. But it's the young and the old, the short and the tall, and it makes for some interesting discussion and debate. But first of all, let us remind you that this is Mirador Television, broadcasting from the White Hart Hotel in Lewes, and that it is the 15th of September in the year 2022, and it is 8:35. And welcome, I'm Keith Hayes, and as I said, later we will have Max and Liza together, keep you amused and informed, and to listen to some views from 9:30 until the bell goes. Time, gentlemen, please. We close down at 11 o'clock. So that is the day in store for you on Mirador Television. And for the moment, we will take a look at the front pages, which are all bound to up in what we just have to go along with what these. There are so many people that claim to do the front pages, and they all cock it up, including the BBC. What? No, that one's all up the chute this morning. We want, that's the one we want. That's it. And it should, yes, there we go. The front pages of the papers, and what you see on our screen is the military taking the coffin into Westminster Hall, where it is now lying in state, and where a remarkable number of people are just filing past. I did tap into the BBC's coverage this morning, and they showed the crowds moving in and taking a look. The remarkable thing is that some of these people have queued for 8 hours, and they get all of 30 seconds in front of the coffin. Having said that, the Palace of Westminster is a historic place. It's where Prince Charles, King Charles I, was sentenced to death by Cromwell and his cronies, and you do get the sense of history. The other chambers have been added on later. But the Westminster Palace actually goes back to Norman times, and it is where William the Conqueror was proclaimed king in 1066. I mean, they won the battle and they rushed him up to London very quickly to get in. One of the funny things is that they got everybody in and then they locked the doors. But inside, there was such a crush that the security people were having great difficulty, and there were great shouts and moans and so on. And the people outside, the security people outside, thought that the king was being attacked. So they burst down the doors and they surged in. And apparently it was a right fracas. It was more of a fight than a party. Mind you, a lot of modern weddings are like that anyway. But it was apparently, because I wasn't there in 1066, no matter how old you think I am, apparently it was a right barge, and all the great and the good would have been there because it was the king's coronation. But the row and the turbulence would have done credit to any party that gets out of hand today. And that was, 1,000 or 1,500 years ago, 2,000 years ago. No, it wasn't. Yes, it was. No, it wasn't. It was 1,000 years ago. Right. Let's now take a look at the papers, because they're much of a muchness this morning, as they have been all week. So the Daily Mail is a historic special edition, but the headline is on the picture of the coffin being guarded by the household cavalry. And in this picture, it is the great and the good behind it. It's before the public were let in. But she lies at peace as her people bid solemn farewells. Then the Eye has a rather longer picture, and indeed it does show the general public filing into the hall and the general stance of the coffin, and with the military around. I mean, it really is a splendid looking scene. The pageantry, which we are very good at this country, is just excellent. But the Eye says the long goodbye. The Independent is farewell to the Queen. I think that the editors and the leader writers, unfortunately, have been left gobsmacked by what's happened, and they are stuck for words. They are really, in their own way, paying tribute to Her Majesty, and the Independent says Britain lines up to say farewell to the Queen. The Daily Star, good old Daily Star, but no, it's playing ball shoulder to shoulder, and for a day at least, it says. And what it's majored on is that Meghan and Kate and Wills and Harry are at peace with one another, as it says, at least for a day. The Guardian, well, one expects something different from the Guardian, has a picture of the king following his mother's coffin, but it also leads on a story about the occupation of Izium in Ukraine, and amid pageantry, the Queen takes her place in history, but people disappeared. Izium recalls the horror of occupation, and apparently there are prosecutors, international prosecutors, now in there taking evidence so that some consideration can be given against the Russian occupying forces for war crimes. People were kidnapped, people were tortured, people were killed, people were made, life was made a misery. And now that it's been taken back, which the Russians never, ever thought would happen, is the evidence is being collected even while the war is on, in case it disappears, if the occupation of this town, Izium, should change yet again. The Sun, we share your pain, and it shows William grimacing. It's got a little inset of King Charles in a very somber mood. Harry is looking to the heavens with his eyes closed, and the two girls certainly don't look at all happy, nor should they be. The Daily Mirror. The Prince and Princess of Wales appear on the front of the Daily Mirror alongside the Duke and Duchess of Sussex. Yes, it's almost the same picture as the Sun. Pride and the Pain. The Daily Telegraph. After processions and services involving the royal family, it's the nation's turn to say farewell to the Queen as she lies in state. The Daily Telegraph, the nation's turn to say farewell. And it shows a picture of the royals saying their farewells before people start to stream in, which they have been doing since daybreak. And the line along the Thames is apparently you're going to wait several hours if you join the line right now. One can only speculate what's going to happen throughout the day. We'll try hard to keep an eye on it. The Metro leads with an image of the Queen's procession to Westminster Palace and the riders of the horses that are drawing the gun carriage on which the coffin sits. And in the background, you can see King Charles, you can see Harry, and one or two more royals. I think that's Andrew. But basically, the picture is what it says, our jewel, her crown. The Times has a wraparound cover with an image of the Queen lying in state, and the quote, "Grief is the price we pay for love." And the front page also looks at the procession to Westminster Place. That is the Times, with members of the Queen's Guard laying down the flag, their flag, in front of her coffin. So the Times, a nation pays its respects. The Financial Times is of course, always interesting. The Queen in procession to Westminster Hall, and it shows them processing through the streets with the gun carriage and with the royals walking behind. King Charles, Princess Anne, Prince Andrew, and I'm not quite sure who the other one is to the right. I think it must be William. And then the second tier is Harry and I can't identify, but the second tier of royals, of course. Now, the Financial Times says courting set to end the cap on bankers' bonuses. I don't have the details of this, and I shall most certainly read them because that is something that is beginning to upset me. If in fact this government is setting out its stall so that it is going to make it easier for people to have a million or 2 million or 3 million bonus for what they do, then it's heading in the wrong direction. The country is in a mess. The rich are busy shoveling the banknotes into their pocket. And what's happening at the other end is we've got full employment, but nothing is happening. Nothing is working. Now, courting needs to take note of that and not simply just end up saying to the bankers, pay yourselves whatever you like on your bonuses, because that is going to upset a lot of people. And if this government, if Liz Truss's government is going to carry on like that, then I think that any goodwill that she has garnered over the last little while and any goodwill that has come as a result of the Queen's funeral is going to disappear very, very quickly. If in fact the headline is what it says it is, then they've lost my goodwill already. And there's another warning. U.S. shale chiefs, that is fracking, warns they cannot save Europe from a winter energy crunch. In other words, we've got a problem coming, and there aren't many people, if any, who can help save us. The Daily Express leads with an image of the Queen lying in state with mourners filing past. And they're saying, your nation stands with you. And that's a roundup of the front pages. The back pages are full of football gobbledygook as usual. I can't believe, in an age when we are told that nobody reads anymore, is there are screeds and screeds and screeds about football. I think most football supporters are not readers. They prefer pictures, they prefer video, they prefer going to the games. And I asked yesterday, I'd started to do a little bit of a arithmetic calculation in my mind. I understand that Brighton is one of the cheaper places to go for a game of football, and it's about 40 quid. Some of the other places around the country, first class, are £80. They play up to 100 games a year, one way or another, if they get into some of the European competitions and so on. And the same people, particularly those who manage to abuse players, but the same people go, the same crowds go. There are simply huge numbers of people who go through the gates. If they're paying £80, but let's be kind and say they're only paying £40, and there's 100 games, that's £4,000. Is that right? Yes, it is. £4,000. Who's got £4,000 just to go to football? Because the main headlines are people can't afford £3,000 for their heating bill, but they can afford £4,000 for football. What the heck is going on? It's all topsy-turvy to me. And I've heard even my good pal Max took me to task the other day for questioning the fact that footballers get these huge amounts of money. I'm sorry, it's obscene. Nobody is worth that sort of money. And the market is going to crash. Television is changing. If those sort of fees, entrance fees, are going to stand, then the stadiums are going to empty. Where is the money coming from? It'll come from a few oligarchs for some of the clubs, but others will go bust. And already there is a story this morning in the back pages of the Daily Mail that Worcester, I think it is, but one of the West Country clubs is already not sure that it can actually play its match this coming weekend because it's run out of cash. In other words, it's bust. So you tell me, how does all this add up? It doesn't add up to me. And I think that we've got to take a very critical look at what's happening in our society. At the bus stop this morning, there's an old boy that I share philosophy with. We both have a go at the government together. But he was telling me that one of the chaps that he knows has just been told that they no longer can work 5 days a week because the company they work for can't afford it. But we've got full employment, according to the stats. And we, in many ways, have financial support all over the place, and they can't afford it. And this is in a country where we've got a couple of million quid being paid. Actually, let's look at our own local councils, because the Lewis District Council, which you can find all this online, this is nothing secret, is the chief executive of Lewis District Council, gets about $250,000. And the three other senior people get close to $250,000 each. So that's $1 million on wages goes there. The chief executive of the county council, she was looking at something like $300,000, and all these are their salaries. Is never mind pensions, never mind expenses, never mind travel and all the other things that they manage to give themselves. So where do we stand? I'm not in any way a socialist. I believe in private enterprise. But private enterprise has got to take a responsibility for our community. It can't just say private enterprise is good, open market is great. Yes, it is, but it's got to be self-regulating, otherwise it will be regulated from outside. And then the whole idea of an open market being regulated defies the very description. And God only knows where we're going to go. So it is a mess. And if Liz Truss is going to do anything, what she's got to do is to accept it's a mess and start to look at reform. Reform? We can't have reform. Goodness gracious me, no. We cannot have reform. That's the one word that is a filthy word to politicians. And actually to some state organizations too, like the NHS. And to some businesses, like the energy companies. Reform? Wow! No, we're too busy. We've got a system where we can ram all sorts of banknotes into our pocket and get away with it. Why would one want to reform it? For the good of the country? Oh, no, don't come that garbage with me. Good of the country, good of the people. No. There's got to be a change, a seed change of the way that we look at things. And people have got to come out from their bubbles. Our leaders sit in a bubble in Westminster. The sports people sit in a bubble somewhere in Europe because the power sure ain't here. And as far as the corporate sector is concerned, is institutions like the Institute of British Industry, or whatever it is, CBI, Confederation of British Industry, is for some reason, they call the shots in the strangest ways, which don't seem to reflect anything that's going on in corporate Britain. Right, okay, Keith, you've had a good old yell. We've got to get young Max in here somewhere. So let's take the Potter's Wheel, our version of the Potter's Wheel. It is no Potter's Wheel in sight. Here he is. It's the Max. Morning, Max.
Good morning.
How are you?
Yeah, I'm all right. Just been trying to figure out our new Wi-Fi thing. We have a new Wi-Fi extender, and hopefully we can start using that by the end of this week.
Good. Excellent. We have accepted our limitations. That this morning on this, the picture looks quite good. What it looks like on your system at home, we have no idea. Or do we? Yes. Have a look, Max. But we've not been producing the best picture. And we've been trying to figure out the problems and the causes. And we've come to the conclusion we've got the right piece of kit to actually right that wrong and give you a very decent picture at home. And well, not too bad this morning, Max. But nonetheless, it doesn't stay that way. Unfortunately, it gives in. So this piece of kit should keep us on the straight and narrow 100%. Is that right? Absolutely. You can tell by the broad beam of a smile on his face. Go on, broad beam of a smile. Go on. Yeah. Right. Let me tell you this. You can tell how we have conflict within Mirador, which we deliberately foster amongst ourselves so that we can give you some interesting things. But I am somebody who always wakes up with the glass half full. I am an optimist. I believe that everything is going to happen to the greater good during the day and that we must get on with it. Other people wake up very skeptical. And I think that Max is a bit of a skeptic. So we're a good chalk and cheese combination.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Where are we now? Oh, yes. Okay. So we're heading towards 9:30 when Liza Page. It's now 8:58, and by the way, we can expect about 19 to 20 in terms of the temperature. We can expect scattered cloud. We don't expect any rain today, but we do expect a gentle breeze. Now, I'm always very suspicious of that gentle breeze, because that gentle breeze quite often takes my bloody hat off, and I have to go scarting down the street after all, past all sorts of people trying to get it. But it is a day of solemnity. But as somebody said this morning, it's the first day that King Charles has had off since his mother's death. And they are taking the day off today as Queen lies in state for a 48-hour period for people to come and take a look. And it is quite remarkable that people have waited for 8, 10, 15 hours, and they get all of about 30 seconds in front of the coffin. And yet the interviews that take place on various media outlets afterwards are that they wouldn't have missed it for the world. And sometimes there is a magic about events that captured it. Now, Max, you actually, professionally, you would like to have gone up, except the world's media is going to be there, and Mirador is just a bit too small at the moment. Although we punch above our weight, but it's a bit too small at the moment for us to actually get through the barriers as media. But what was your feeling when you said to me, "I think I'll go up"?
Pardon?
What was your feeling?
Well, I don't really know. I just thought it'd be a good thing to go to, do some work as well, and so I can go there and be able to say one day I went there, I was there,
right?
I was there.
That's as good a reason as any, actually. I mean, to be in places at a momentous occasion. And you remember them. I was actually on to St. Stephen's Green, which is the green patch outside the House of Commons, waiting with because this was 1990 something, yeah, and with a bicycle standing by, waiting for the videotape when Margaret Thatcher was deposed. And I remember it very clearly. I remember exactly what I was doing, the sense of occasion. Waiting to see whether she'd been kicked out or not kicked out, and what happened afterwards. So, the sense of occasion is quite important. I'm glad you got that feeling. Now, how was the trip in this morning on the buses and the trains and so on?
I got the bus. It was long. It was longer than usual. There was traffic this morning on the A23, and then Brighton had traffic all in it as well. Yeah, it was long. It always is. It's about 2 hours. Yesterday on my way home, it was 3.5. It was almost 5 hours, 4 hours and 45 minutes.
Gosh.
Because of traffic and midday.
Yeah. So you spend about 4 hours a day traveling?
Over. Every day, yeah.
Yes. I mean, it is interesting. It's our choice as to where we live. Well, I'm not sure it's Max's choice, but you quite like your little village, don't you?
I do, yeah.
Yeah. He likes living in his little village, but there's a price to pay. And these are some of the things I think that we've got to look at. There is no sense of talking green credentials and so on and so forth, and then ignoring the fact that we have little villages which contribute to the whole atmosphere and environment in which we live, and we make it difficult for people like Max to even come to a place like Lewis. He's not even going to London. It is a place like Lewis, and it's punitive in terms of the cost, and the service is not really up to snuff. We've got to take a look at things like that. Nobody is looking actually at the coalface. They are all so busy still getting all excited about half a bottle of champagne and a packet of crisps, which has deposed a prime minister, instead of looking at the things that matter to those of us who, on a day-to-day basis, have to face these things. And it's iniquitous that you have that sort of problem. mind you. Where's the motorbike?
I'm getting stressed over out of that. I don't even know if I'm going to get it. I'm actually getting really cross now.
Oh dear. Now, I mean, I don't know the details, but is somebody giving it to you, or you're buying it, or what's the?
I'm being given it, but the person who is currently holding it does not like responding to messages.
Oh, yes, that's dreadful. I mean, I hate that when I don't expect immediate, but I also don't expect to send something and not have an acknowledgement at all. That is naughty. And so, well, I'm sorry about the bike because you were very excited about it.
Mm-hmm.
But then again, you are looking at a car, are you not?
No, not really.
Oh, not right. Oh, that's the long term.
That's a long way away. That's next year.
Right. Oh, well, that's not very far away. Goodness gracious me! Is that the years zip by? It was only. Let's see. I was only 25 a few months ago, and now look at me. Take a good look. Hardly a spring chicken. And the time actually rushes by. So believe me, if you are 18, like Max, realize that the years do go. They fly. And I'm at the situation, I'm in that role now where a lot of my contemporaries are dying off. I'm finding funerals coming thick and fast. I received an email just last night from an old school friend. Actually, I received. There were 6 of us who kicked around together at school and have stayed in touch over the years. And the 2 of them have now died, and the third was I didn't know died a week or 2 ago, and we lasted, all of us, for a good part of our lives, but now the body just gives up, and I think that's what happened to the Queen. Her body just simply gave up, and several friends have said, "Is Keith, stop burning the candle at both ends." But I would much rather die with a smile on my face and doing what I like than being moping around in a flat and wondering what the hell to do. No, thank you. I'll keep going to the very end, the bitter end, much to the chagrin of some of my colleagues. But what the hell? That's what this sort of television is all about. Upset as many people as you can. We've upset the councils to such an extent that none of them talk to us. We don't mind because every time we look at what they're doing, we think, what are this lot doing in power? Just the same as the people in Westminster. There is nobody of quality left anymore. They're all there because they're political, or in some instances, they made it a career. They're there for the cash and the bonuses. Oh, we mustn't forget the bonuses. We mustn't forget all the good things that an MP gets. And actually, even councillors here, they may not be given a salary, but they don't do too badly on what do they call they've got a special word for the money they're given for the things that they do. But
Salary?
Anyway, sorry?
Salary? No, I don't know.
No, it's not. It's
Bonus?
yeah. It'll come to me. It's not that important, I don't think. Right. Okay, Max. What are you and Liza going to talk about, or do you know?
We have a few vague lines, but really it's just unscripted. It can go anywhere, and that's what I like about this show and all the shows we do in general. It's going to be nice. I very much enjoy doing my show with Liza.
Yes, the 2 of you have got a synergy, haven't you? You get along very well together.
Yeah, we do.
And yet you manage to actually fight, which is good television. So it's good that you have a disagreement. But let everybody know that they are pals, actually. Yeah. When Liza gets going, I'm the one that ducks and dives. I get out of the way. Right. Okay. Well, just let's see if we've got anything that we can break up the us speaking to each other. Let's see. I tried to get a couple of things. No. Oh, that's 117. Let's see what that is. Whoops. Got the hiccups again. Scene in Sussex. Scene in Sussex. Well, hang on. I should be back there, and I don't know why. Oh, I know why. There now I should be back. Yes, there we are. Max has rushed off to the little boy's room. So what I'm going to do is, because it is the Queen's lying in state, and we need sometimes reminding about who she was and what she did. Not but there are things, gaps in our memory. So I'm going to actually play one of the things that we actually did as a tribute when we started this year, which was her Jubilee year. But it gives some idea of the years, of the 70 years, some of the years that she presided over the United Kingdom. Now, in that little video, there are two figures that appear. The first is Billy Wright, who captained England. If I'm not mistaken, I believe that his home team was Wolves. Billy Wright of England and Wolves. And Billy Wright was an absolute hero. He was a superb athlete, a very good footballer. But also, I was privileged to know him a little bit. And he was a very, very nice guy. He took his football seriously, and not for the money, because he played still in the days when they got 10 quid a week. He played in the great Stanley Matthews era. And they loved their football, and they loved what they did for the country. And they loved the whole feel about the sport. That's when it was the beautiful game. That's all disappeared now, unfortunately. But in the early part of the Queen's reign, Billy Wright was captain of England, and he epitomised everything that was good about the sport and about the feel, the feel of loyalty, the feel that Britain was Britain, and it belonged to us because it was special. And why was it special? Because we made it special. Nobody was assuming anything. We made it special. The citizens made it special. Now, having seen the tailback of the people lining up to see the Queen's coffin, see her lying in state, I am moved to believe that spirit is still there, lying underneath. Can somebody like Liz Truss, or for that matter, could Keir Starmer, or for that matter, could anybody else who is a supposed leader, kindle that spirit and make it, reignite it, so that instead of everybody trying to find a way to pick up money without working from home for 4 days a week, come on, don't pull my leg, I believe could actually get things started again in a real way for this country, because it certainly needs a kick in the backside at the moment. Now, the other one was Vera Lynn, Dame Vera Lynn. I met her once. And when I say I met her once, I shook the flesh. But my wife knew her quite well. And she said that she was actually a very gracious lady. But of course, her claim to fame was that she would entertain the troops during the Second World War. And with great songs that have stood the test of time, such as We'll Meet Again. We'll meet again, don't know where, don't know when. And there were some pretty dark days during the Second World War. You know, it's easy in retrospect to say, well, we were always going to win, weren't we? Well, not necessarily. There were a lot of very dicey moments. And I would imagine that staunch though he was, Winston Churchill had his heart in his mouth on some occasions. There was some doubt that D-Day was going to win, that we were going to get a bridgehead and the German on the continent and in the German-occupied France. It's a big doubt indeed. And there were other things, that the Battle of the Bulge, for instance, where Hitler's troops fought back, was damn near successful and would have sent us packing back out of Europe if it had been successful. So there's some pretty dicey days. And in those dark days, we had people like Vera Lynn singing, you know, We'll Meet Again. Amongst that, others, I mean, she had a lot of favorites. She only died about a year ago, I think, perhaps even less than that. And she actually lived in Ditchling, which is a village no more than 3 or 4 miles away from Lewis. So there was a very strong connection with Vera Lynn. But she was, they had that wonderful thing called the sweetheart of the forces. Terrific. Max is back.
Yes.
Hi, Max.
Hi. I just arranged the gym show again with Stephen, going tomorrow. Liza's here now.
Is she?
Yes.
Right. Okay. Well, then there are two things. We will. It's 18 minutes past. We will get off bang on time. You want a little break, don't you? To what I'm going to do, Max, is I'm going to do what we did yesterday. Is in about 2 minutes' time, I'm going to start an episode of our documentary. So that you have got, instead of taking a gap, you and Liza have got plenty of time to settle in, and then you can end that, because it is a documentary, and we can tap in and out whenever we feel like it. You can actually start back when you feel like it. But I would actually just like to reiterate that they had great heroes in the Queen's years of reign from 1952 to 2022, 70 years in which we saw a huge change in our civil life, in our civil leadership. Not all, I'm sorry to say, for the good. But you know, the other thing that I at the moment, I am particularly concerned because another headline was that this Truss is going to end red tape. And immediately people say, well, if she ends red tape, then we've got a problem with other parts of our economy. But really, something needs to be done about reform of the way that we're governors. And I don't mean bringing in a president and get rid of the royals. Not at that level. It needs to be at the next level down, because that's where a lot of things are going wrong. A lot of things going wrong. And it's not good policy not to, A, oh, I got the hiccups, be aware of them, and B, not to actually put in your strategy, if you like, ways of trying to resolve them. Okay, let us, I'm going to say sort of toodle pip. It is 19 degrees, or it's going to reach 19 degrees outside. Not much rain today. A bit of sunshine here and there, and a mild breeze. So I will probably see you a little later. But generally speaking, I'm going to leave it up to him now. Oh my goodness me! Look at that! Isn't that an inspirational figure? It's all right. He smiles later on. He always does. All right. Let's go to. Oh, I can't help it. We've got to do a little food filler. Yeah, right.
Mirador's food tip of the week: hot buttered toast. Have we forgotten how wonderful simple hot buttered toast can be? Ingredients simple: bread and butter. Hot buttered toast. Mirador's food tip of the week. Try it.
He sat on the bank while the river still chattered onto him, a babbling procession of the best stories in the world. That was the excitement that Mole experienced in the story Wind in the Willows. And indeed, rivers large and small everywhere all have many stories to tell. The River Ouse that flows through Lewes is no different. In fact, for much of the town's history, it has played an important part. Today, the river carries nothing but pleasure craft. But for a long time, it was a busy, bustling port. About a mile upstream from here is the village of Hamsey. It sits on a triangle of land which splits the river as it curves down towards the town. Hamsey is barely a village today. a few houses with the 13th century church standing in splendid isolation. But Hamsey was a Saxon port in the pre-Norman era. Historians estimate that over 1,000 people lived here, populating a port that saw ships sail up the Ouse to trade goods. There is no doubt that the Normans had a bit to do with its demise. The area was handed over to a Norman lord. But the community was attacked by an enemy it couldn't stop. An army of rats, which disembarked from one of the visiting ships, went ashore and infected the village with bubonic plague. The Black Death. The disease devastated Hamsey. And while there is no historic evidence, legend has it that the residents barricaded themselves in to prevent unaffected people coming in and diseased people getting out. Eventually, they starved to death. Named after the black rats which carried the plague, the Black Death killed over half the population in Britain between 1348 and 1349. The survivors founded another village off Ham, the modern thriving village of Opham. The plague attacked Lewis several times over the following centuries, each time causing significant loss of life. So death continued to stalk Lewis, bringing tragedy to the high street in rather greater measure than other UK high streets. Hamsey gone, but Lewis as a port flourished. Ships and barges plied their trade up and down the Ouse, creating an exciting and bustling waterway. Many of these buildings, which stand on an extension of the high street in an area called Cliff, are built with old ship's timbers. Where Argos now stands was a sailor's pub called the Bear, built as a brewery in 1787, and it succumbed to the carelessness of revelry and burned down in 1918. This quiet domestic street, which runs for a short distance parallel to the Ouse, was the sailors' playground, and history relates that there were more than a dozen brothels successfully operating. Today, this street is known as Little Chelsea. Even the name makes it seem a nice place to live. The rather small abodes have found favour with many modern Louisians and are now favoured homes. And why not? They look good in a twee kind of way. And if you're not living in a former brothel, there are other historical backgrounds to raise the interest. All this talk of pubs and trading around town, it saps my energy. So I sometimes come to this little oasis. The Notts Garden in Southover Park, a lovely little hideaway. Back to the High Street, or at least its extension into the cliff area of Lewes. So I've been wandering around here because Lewes is full of antique stores and models. As I mentioned, go inside some of these shops and you'll find that they're supported by old ship's timbers. Another reminder of the days when Lewes was a port. All this talk of water has made me thirsty. I made several mentions of the time Lewes had 63 pubs. As you would expect, among the 16 that are left, there are some with strong ties to the community. Over the road from the shops, held up by ship's timbers, is the Gardener's Arms. There seems to be a tradition in Lewes, although no one admits to it, of omitting the epithet pub or tavern. This pub is called by locals simply the Gardener's. And the Gardener's it was. The origins of this pub go back to when it was an ordinary house, owned by a gardener. Often, after work, he would invite other gardeners into his front room for a drink. Eventually, it made sense to formalize the ritual, so it turned into a pub. The Gardener's is a true pub. Unusual now, it only serves pork pies and sausage rolls. Yet each year it's in the top tier of finalists for Pub of the Year. Magnificent. Back to the Street of 1,000 Brothels. Well, perhaps not 1,000, but a few anyway. There's a pub called the Snowdrop. Nice pub, they tell me. Interesting for its name and where it stands. This is the site of England's deadliest avalanche. Just after Christmas in 1836, heavy snow built up on the edge of the downs. There were 7 cottages here where the pub now stands. Despite warnings, the people living there went about their business, totally unconcerned about the snow. Then whoosh, down it came, demolishing 7 cottages and taking the lives of 8 people.
Time, gentlemen, please.
Not heard now, but the admonishment of past landlords that it was time to quit drinking should have been heeded by the cottagers. A disaster both for the country and the town. A brief mention of one last hostelry, the John Harvey Tavern. Named after the founder of a local brewery, the one of 16 to survive to the modern day, Harvey's has been around since at least 1790. And an important inhabitant. Along with Mole and Ratty on the banks of the River Ouse. More on that later. For the moment, back to the bar. How I wish I'd lived in Lewes when it had 63 pubs. Bliss. You might think, from the pubs I've been into, that Lewes is a drinking town. The town constable in the late 1800s didn't think so. The town constable in 1890 didn't want it to be. Here is some notes from the High Constable of Lewes, a gentleman called John Holman, dated 1880. Sunday, the 10th of October, visited all the public houses during morning service. All in good order, except Lewes Arms, several there tippling in service time. Sunday, the 17th of October, visited public houses, all in very good order, except the Lewes Arms. Again, a second time, several persons in both parlour and taproom tippling at 11:30 o'clock, time of divine service, gave the landlord a caution. Sunday, the 14th of November, visited public houses as usual, witnessed very great indecency in the person of George W. Several persons were tippling during divine service, and on our approach to do our duty, they were permitted to hide themselves upstairs in the pub. This was the 3rd or 4th offence of the same kind. Wow. Bit different today. But beer is very close to the hearts of this Sussex town because it's one of the main employers and industries. Earlier, I mentioned the John Harvey Tavern. John Harvey started his brewery on the banks of the River Ouse in 1790. He was one of the 16 that flourished here at one time. Now, with just the odd microbrewery popping up here and there, it's the only one. The brewery is close to the hearts of the community. The pubs it owns have in the main remained traditional, while its method of delivery has most definitely remained in the past. Miles Jenner is the chief brewer, and his range of beers reflects the activities of the local community. The dray that trots around town is a symbol of the tradition of the brewery, but also of the town. The beer maker turns out beers named after local events: Firecracker, Tom Paine, Bonfire Boy, and Lewis Castle. The name Harvey, synonymous with Lewis. You've been around, or the brewery has been around for quite a long time. Can you develop a little bit of the history for us?
Yes, the family came down, the Harvey family, from London. They were wine and spirit merchants at the end of the 18th century, and they started brewing in Lewis and on this site in the early 19th century.
Hello and welcome to Mirador Television. I am here with Liza Page. Good morning.
Hello, Max. How are you doing?
Very good. This is our third show together now.
It's rather exciting,
This is
isn't
the
it?
third week. It's almost been a month.
Well, they haven't turned us off.
No, they haven't. So how have you been?
I've been rather well, except I was out in the sun and just a few minutes, and suddenly I thought, oh, I can't take that sun anymore. And I was feeling really quite ill. I had to go and do some shopping, but how I made it, I'll never know. Got home and really had to lay down and go to bed. And about midnight, I got up to get some water, and because I thought maybe I'd been dehydrated or something like that, but the head was still very muzzy. I've experienced that only one time before, and it's quite frightening when you don't know something like that. I thought, well, but we are so swamped in radiation, Max, everywhere we look and everywhere we go. And I personally
We can't avoid it.
we no possible way.
This is coming in my pocket. And one, you know what, has been a big concern recently is laptops.
Yes.
Laptops, right? These laptops, the one we're using here, people have been obviously using them on their lap to type away
so
and do
dangerous.
work. And what
Cancer
it is,
of the testicles.
it's causing a rise in testicular cancer. Yeah,
Yes.
from having it. It's a laptop. You put it on your lap.
But I mean, these mobile phones, little children sleep with them, you know, on their next to their pillows. I mean, those little young brains, you know, very, very thin, the membrane. You cannot take this. There's so much cancer of the brain in little children. We never had that years ago.
Well, I can't say I'm any better because I sleep with this on my bedside table and charge overnight. I have my TV and my Xbox at the end of my bed. And then my brother in my room has his Xbox and his TV at the end of his bed and his phone on the same bedside table.
You're
my
depressing me
my
horribly.
computer in the corner of the room.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very dangerous.
And that's just our room. That's not my mum's room. That's not my other brother's room. It's not anywhere downstairs.
Yeah.
Let alone the microwaves and whatnot.
Well, you know, I like you and I worry about you.
Yeah, I worry about it too, but it is unavoidable now.
And it's going to get worse with this 5G that they're putting up.
Well,
and
now
during the pandemic, they made great use of that because there was no traffic on the road and anything. So boom, boom, we can have a right go here sticking up this stuff. All the time we stand for it, then we're going to die.
Well, now we've got the Oculus goggles. Have you seen those?
I've seen it. But what is that? Educate me. What is that all about?
Virtual reality. I've used them a couple times before. They are very, very fun. Very
I'm sure
addictive.
they are. Yeah, addictive. That's the word, isn't it?
Every time, I will say, even though I know it's bad, every time I get the opportunity, I use it. Because my brother has one, and he has it connected to his racing game, and he has a steering wheel and pedals that connect to his Xbox. So it's like you're really driving the car. It's not the same, obviously, but it's certainly realistic.
Yes, well, I've just finished reading David Icke's book, The Trap, and he mentions all this and spot on, as the man always is. And this goes with the pattern to dehumanize us. You see, if you watch this enough, then reality that we are experiencing will be a game. And the reality will be in these boxes. And it doesn't take long to bring this in with the new world order. This is all the way it is switching to change the human being. So that when they've finished, human beings will be in like something you see in a zoo. So rare.
Well, with the radio waves, you never had any of it. All you had was, when you were my age, probably very few televisions.
Very few, because they're
mostly radios.
Yes, mostly radios. And you could make your own crystal, they called them. You could, if you had a little bit of savvy, you could put one together for yourself.
Can't do that now. I can build a phone, can build a computer, can do anything like that. You need it's a lot of work.
I'm sure. I'm sure. But once we had a radio, hey, we're through. It was such a big deal. It was like, when you first start on the internet and suddenly you're on the net. It's a big thrill. As times vastly changed, but they can be changed back. We should keep the positive and get rid of the negative. And this is only as good as it's fed. Computer, radio, anything is only as valuable as it's fed, and it's fed by human beings. So it has to be fed the right information for our survival.
Do you think we'll ever stand up against it?
Yes, I do. I have strong faith in human nature, and I think too many people now have got the eye open.
Mm.
And once the eyes are open, they don't close. They can't. It's totally impossibility.
Well, with the technology side of things, I don't think we will ever stand up to that. We are all hypocrites when it comes to this. We all have a TV in our house. We all have a computer.
Mm.
We all have a mobile phone. No matter how good you say you are.
I don't have a mobile.
Well, you don't have a mobile. You have a TV and a computer.
Yes, I do.
And a microwave?
No,
Oh,
I
you
got
don't?
rid of the microwave.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, actually, it blew up and I didn't replace it, so I managed
It
rather
blew
well.
Would you put a spoon in it by accident?
I don't know. It was quite elderly, and it frightened the life out of me. I scare very easily. I'm such a coward. Anyway, pulled it out, the whole thing, and I thought, no, that's it. I'll just use the oven from now on, which I did. Managed quite well because I eat a lot of raw food, very little cooked food. I don't eat meat anymore, but I do eat fish.
Why don't you eat meat?
I don't like the taste of it, and I am frightened, especially with the beef or the lamb and that. When we shouldn't be doing it, of course we shouldn't. But the injections that they give into these animals to make them robust goes into us. So the poison and can make you very fat. And I find since I haven't been eating meat, I've lost a couple of pounds.
Yeah.
Listen, that might be a placebo effect. I don't know, but
well, I
don't crave it, and such. No, that is a lie.
You crave
it because about 2 weeks ago, I thought I could murder a bacon sandwich with brown sauce. I didn't have any bacon. I didn't have any brown sauce. So that had to pass. But I think it's like people that smoke. Haven't smoked for 25 years, and every now and again they fancy a cigarette. It's the same thing, I think.
Yeah, that's out of everyone I know who's vegetarian, all of them say the same thing to me. The hardest thing to give up was bacon.
Really?
Every time.
Oh, well, then I'll excuse myself.
Every time. My aunt was vegetarian for a while, and then after a hangover, my mum made her a bacon sandwich, and she ate it and stopped being vegetarian.
Easily done, I'm sure.
I'm not sure what it is about bacon, but it's just beloved. It's loved by everyone.
It has to be crispy, though.
Oh, really?
It's got to be crispy. Yeah.
Not too sure about that, but everyone loves bacon.
Yeah.
Everyone, even vegetarians.
Oh dear.
But yeah, I was talking to my mum a while ago. Actually, not that long ago, actually. I didn't realize microwaves were a relatively new thing. She didn't have microwaves when she was younger. They are a relatively new thing to have in households.
Yes, I suppose they are. I am the wrong person to ask because I'm so ancient. These things, have we only had it 20 years or have we only had it 40 years? I can't recall anything. As soon as something new comes, haven't we had this all our lives? We take them for granted. And
there's lots of little things like that where I'm like, you haven't always had this? This is a new thing?
Yeah.
Like everyone having a duvet. Everyone used to have blankets, apparently.
Oh, yes, we did. Yes. And if a couple were getting married, generally you gave them 2 sets of blankets. It was for a wedding present.
I was very surprised to find out because my mum always had blankets, and she was telling me that her friends were amazed because everyone in her house had duvets.
Yes, well, I think we got that when we started going on holiday to France after the war. The French had duvets, and I think that this is nice. But we had what was called an eiderdown on top of the blankets. Now, eiderdowns are virtually just duvets.
Without a cover.
Yes,
Right,
that's
okay.
it. And we had them in silk and the whole thing, you know. And you've got a beautiful eider down, you know. It was,
I've never heard of
yes,
that word.
yes, eider duck. You see, eider down, the down from the duck.
Okay.
Yes. So yes, we have had duvets a long time, but they were in a different fashion.
Right. Okay. All right.
But the big puffy things, I swear, we got that idea from France.
Probably did.
Yes.
Probably invented it. I'm not sure, but I was just shocked to find out that relatively new. I just thought everyone had had them since the beginning of time. I don't know.
Well, look, in Henry VIII's day, maybe they did have them then.
Well, yeah, they did, but it was only for the very, very rich.
Yes. Well, other people were so poor. I mean, if they had one chair, they were rich. You have a chair, your own chair.
Really?
Absolutely. And I mean, carpet, to have fitted carpet down, well, that was supreme luxury. We would have what they call linoleum, lino.
Yeah,
You need a bit of lino put down there because to polish the boards, I mean, it was terrible hard
most
work.
houses still have lino under the carpets. We have lino.
Do you?
Yeah. We have carpets upstairs and lino downstairs.
Oh. Yeah, but to have fitted carpet was a really big deal in my day.
Really? In
Oh,
your
yes,
day?
it really was, yes.
Wow. I didn't
Yeah.
know that.
You know, especially if you changed house, well, God, you know what we're going to do. I remember we took our carpets, a bit of fitted carpet, took it with us. I remember my mother on her hands and knees trying to fit it in, you know, to the space that we had. But I certainly didn't have an impoverished childhood, not at all, because my father was an excellent provider. He was a professional gambler. But with a gambler, it's and someone said, well, your mother must have had a very exciting life. I guess she did. One day she had big diamond rings. The next day he was selling our carpets, you know, and he would bring home maybe an antique piece or something. And listen, don't get attached to that because that's got to go. Had to go to be made a profit on, you know, it's wheeling and dealing in those days. A lot of people, some people were very good at it, some people weren't. And but it was something that you had to learn to do.
My grandparents ran antique dealers.
Mm-hmm.
Their house is full of antiques. I'm always scared to touch stuff. I'm like, oh, what if I break this? What if this is worth £10 or what if it's worth like £10,000?
Well, I hope they educate you because it's a very good handy thing to have.
Yeah, my mum's very into
something
antiques.
is worth.
Yeah, I just don't touch things. I just don't trust things. I know what chairs I can sit in, and that's all.
But you know the song from My Fair Lady, all I want is a room somewhere far away from the cold night air with one enormous chair. Oh, wouldn't it be lovely? Lots of chocolate for me to eat, lots of coal making lots of heat, warm face, warm hands, warm feet. Oh, wouldn't it be lovely?
Who was that from?
From My Fair Lady.
Oh, right, okay.
Yes, very, very famous, but it was apropos too. You know, she was a flower seller working in the East End of London in the markets. I mean, we didn't have much heat, you see. People were so poor, and the lifespan was actually quite short because they got TB and didn't have anything to fight these diseases with.
You know what I found out recently, which was quite interesting about lifespan, was the amount of time people live, like the age you live up to, hasn't really changed.
No, it hasn't.
Because you can look back at Romans and philosophers, obviously the famous ones, because the rest were forgotten. But they lived, a lot of them lived to their 80s, 90s, some even 100. But it really hasn't changed all that much. All that's changed is the death rate of infant mortality.
Yes, and
that's why the life expectancy has gone up.
Yes, because babies died it was very interesting. Women used to deliver the babies, and then men came on the scene and said, listen, we're going to have a look around here and find out why this is happening. Because many times after the woman had given birth, the uterus wouldn't close. So she bled to death, you see. And it happened a great deal of time. You know, these young couples would have one room. And he said, I can't sleep tonight because there's blood all over the mattress and we only have this. It was so sad. But when men came in and started getting involved in medicine and that, they put a stop to quite a lot of that. They were very good. And now, of course, that very rarely happens to a woman because they just give her a shot of ergot as soon as the child is born, which closes up the uterus.
So when modern medicine has changed a lot, even in your lifetime. We've come so far.
Yeah, but during the Roman times in the arenas, they had the finest surgeons possible for their gladiators because these men were very valuable to them. So, you know, if they got hurt, come on, you patch him up because he's got to get back in there again. I mean, they were money makers, you see. It was like prize fighters today. They were owned by certain people. You say, well, I've got 10 or 15 gladiators, you know, and they make me money in the arena because you would bet on them. And so we had, and also in battles too, they had some incredible physicians, and they had books of medicines, mostly holistic, and the whole thing. Christians came along and they burnt a lot. So we've lost so much there. But of course, the Catholic Church does have a great deal of information that they won't bring forth.
Yeah, they have a whole library in the Vatican of information that's not allowed to be seen by the public. It's just insane. Like, why? Well, why are you not allowing this?
I tell you why. Because they say people would live too long, and we can't have that. And in Dr. David Kelly's paper, which is on the internet, and it's in all of David Icke's books, he was a gynecologist who stood up, and in 1968, I think, and he said, I'm going to tell you some information. You know, sort of top. He said, but please turn off your telephones because they had telephones in those days in 69, right? Well, naturally, a couple didn't. So the whole thing was there. And he said, we are working towards this new world order. He said, right now, this was in 1968. He said, we can cure pretty much all disease now. Then we can cure pretty much all disease now in 1968. He said, but we don't because the people will die of cancer, and which we can cure. He said, but that's the most prevalent disease, so they have to die of something. That way we can make money on the drugs that we will administer to them, and we have business. But this was Kaplan. He said all this. And then he said there will be a world takeover where what is happening today. Yeah, it's all there. Be brave, have a look for it, because it joins up all the dots perfectly. And, you know, with Big Pharma today, there's so much they can cure. But, you know, as soon as somebody dies of cancer, oh, my God, I've got to leave everything to cancer research. And, you know, they give you a little bit. In 5 years, we will be able to cure this kind of cancer. It's always 5 years' time, 5 years' time. Dribble, keep the mouse a little hungry.
In the magical year of 2030, that it'll all be fixed.
Yes, but don't put money on it.
The magical year of 2030.
Yeah, don't put money on it. But I think a lot of people now know what is going on, and Big Pharma is a treacherous organization. Why have they sort of forbidden holistic medicine? Why?
I don't know.
Why can't they work with holistic medicine? Huh? Because they're not in the business of curing people. That there's no money in good health. No money at all.
Yeah, it is, and they're predicting that 1 in 2 people will get cancer in their lifetime.
Well, I think it's going to be a lot more, with the radiation and everything, and with this 5G lot. Oh, God help us.
And the microplastics as well. Have you seen a lot about that?
No, darling, no.
Plastic is. I'll go into that properly at some point. Me and Ollie actually had a very good discussion about it.
Well, come on, educate me. Tell me. I want to know.
So, plastic is made of oil.
Mm-hmm.
We drink out of plastic everything.
Mm-hmm.
So plastic bottles, plastic milk carton.
I don't.
I know you don't. I've been reusing that glass bottle you gave me ever since, actually.
Oh, good boy.
But we use a lot of plastics made of oil.
Mm-hmm.
It's made of petroleum as well. It's got all sorts of horrible chemicals. Then it gets slowly broke down over time and gets in the water supply. It's turning the animals infertile. And then take that to a grander scale of the animals getting infertile. What's with all this infertility rates in humans now? Oh, isn't that a weird coincidence?
Yes. There's no such thing as a
coincidence.
There isn't. Yeah. No such thing. This is what we are facing, and it's not pretty. It's not good at all. But you see, people are waking up, but not enough, because they've been dumbed down for so many years. Keep them uneducated. Don't educate them, or only educate the chosen few.
That's why the internet is such a great thing.
Exactly.
And why censorship is so prevalent. That's why.
Quite, yeah. They no, you don't. The peasants mustn't know that. Oh, no, too dangerous. Take that off. He or she just swore. That's a good reason to block them. Yeah. Yes. But what we're faced with now, you see, they're coming on very, very strong with this new world order business. Build back better. We have a king who is a member of
the World Economic Forum.
The World Economic Forum, and we also have a prime minister who is a member of this ultra dodgy organization. And
the 2 runner-ups, Liz Truss and Rishi Sunak, they were both a part of the World Economic Forum. Who were you going to choose?
Oh, exactly.
I mean, I always said Liz.
He's married to a woman who is heavily involved in China. The passports, is it you were telling me?
So Rishi Sunak's father-in-law owns the patents for the Chinese social credit system.
Yes, well, all follows, doesn't it? You see, and Klaus Schwab, and that guy in Canada,
Justin Trudeau.
The baby Justin Trudeau, doesn't he fancy
Justin
himself?
Fidel Castro Trudeau?
Yeah. And our king, all these people are there to try and kill us.
Yeah.
And put us into slave labor, which will involve the Chinese credit system to take away our tiny money.
You have to be careful. We have to be careful. We're liable on this. So you have to say you believe.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes, that's what you believe.
Yes.
That's not 100% confirmed. If we say it is, we would most likely immediately be taken down for libel.
I say yes. I believe, and I believe it because they've said it.
Yeah. They're all part of the same group.
All very part, and quite
The
frankly,
only one-
I have experienced the last World War, which a bunch of wealthy families sat around and said, "How can we make some money?" I know war. Let's finance this chap Hitler over there. We can make this last at least 6 years. And they sent out all these young people to be murdered. It was murder, wasn't it? Didn't stand a bloody chance. And then, of course, the concentration camps, which we tried out before the war on the blacks in Kenya. See how they went, you see. Anyway, we had the concentration camps, which is just, the same as they have in China, so I'm told, good authority. I am just waiting for a knock on my door in the middle of the night. And I come down, I say, "Oh, Miss Page, look, don't panic. We have it all under control. This is a state of emergency, but we know what we're doing. Please be at the town hall with just one bag tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock. It's all you have to do, just one small bag taking you to safety." I go down to the town hall with my little bag. I join up with all the other old people. I'm put on a bus and I'm never seen again. And if you think I'm kidding, I'm not.
I'm sure it's just a nice retirement villa. I'm sure it's nothing sinister.
Oh, do you think so?
Oh, of course.
Oh,
the government. What's the government ever done wrong?
Yeah. Will it have a swimming pool, do you think?
Some kind. Gosh.
If we don't learn from past history, then we're waste of time. We must learn from what's happened in the past, because if it's happened in the past, it will happen in the future. And if these people, these Klaus Schwabs and these Gates, unless they are punished, severely punished, they will do it again. Of course they will. This never worked before. The people are standing for it. Come on, and we go and do what we want.
Oh, I don't know if you know this. I found something out interesting. I don't know. So, you know how Klaus Schwab has that accent? The very evil
His German accent.
Do you know anything about his ancestry?
Yeah, it was Nazi.
Yeah, it's Klaus Schwab's father, because he's quite old now, he's in his 70s, Klaus Schwab. Klaus Schwab's father was the head of Hitler's missile program.
Well, all the dots would join up, wouldn't it? Yes.
And now Klaus Schwab is influencing everything to potential prime ministers, current prime ministers, former prime ministers, and even royalty.
Yes. And we've got him, good old Charlie. They've got him by the nuts, haven't they? He will do anything they tell him to do.
Yeah, but what he said the other day on was Prince Charles did a speech. He said, "I'm giving up all my current causes. I'm leaving everything. I'm not going to be doing activism for climate change. I'm not going to be doing activism for anything. I'm leaving the World Economic Forum."
When did he say this?
The other day, once he became king. Now he's king. He's getting rid of all those things, which obviously is just talk.
Yeah.
We all know that.
Yeah.
We all know that.
Yes, indeed. We will have nothing and be happy, because I've got the lot.
You'll have nothing. Yep, you'll own nothing and be happy.
Oh dear. Well, come on, people. Big march up there, on Saturday. David and some other guys. God bless them.
If it wasn't for the fact I already had pre-arranged plans on Saturday,
You'd be with them.
I would be there in London.
I know you would. It's such a shame you can't get up there, I tell you.
Yeah.
Because I know David would talk to you, and I know he would.
Yeah.
And anyway, we'll meet him one day.
We will meet him one day.
Yes, of course we will. Yeah.
Is he just there on Saturday?
It's just a one day, yes.
Well, if
these
there are any
marches
other
they're
events,
having a hell of a lot of effect. They really are.
next time there is an event, notify me, and I will make sure my schedule is clear.
Yes.
Fortunately, I've been planning this thing I'm doing on Saturday
You
for
mustn't disappoint
3
that
weeks.
little girl. You must
No,
not disappoint children.
no.
You must not. It's very dangerous to do that because then they grow up and they trust no one. Mind you, that's not a bad way to be.
You know what? If it wasn't for the fact that I distrusted people in general, I would never have been questioning a lot of these things.
Mhm.
Because I had a very... My childhood was good,
Mhm.
but I had family who let me down. And I think that's really made me who I am today.
Yes.
Because if I had never had anyone let me down in ways, I would never be questioning authority.
I don't know about that so much. I think you would always have questioned it. I mean, you've learnt too soon in life. I mean, children should have a childhood. I mean, they really should.
I mean, I've been knowing
need all the love and attention they can possibly get.
I mean, I first
because
started
it's
getting,
so short.
Yeah, I first started getting interested in this about 4 years ago.
Oh.
I was only 14 at the time when I started watching Alex Jones.
He's really
I
you off.
I was only 14 years old.
Listen, I mean, they've really been trying to run him out of business over
Yeah.
there, but they have not succeeded.
Because I was watching him when he was still on YouTube before he got banned. And that was a while ago now.
Yeah.
So even when the pandemic came around, I was already questioning things from the very beginning.
Oh, he's lovely. He's lovely.
Yeah. And especially when everyone said...
not as good as David, though. Sorry, David's older than him. He started long before.
David Icke started before Alex Jones in TV. Alex Jones has been going for a while with what he's
David
talking
had
about.
the books out before, you see, before
Right.
TV. He had the books, and he was going all over.
When did David Icke start then? Because Alex Jones started, he's been doing this for about 30 years.
Well, David's been writing books for over 30 years now, about 33 years. Because I know because I bought his first book. You know, listen, I am a David Icke disciple.
Do you have the first copy of every single, like the first edition of all of his books, do you think?
I haven't got the first edition, no, but I've got all his books, yes. Didn't you see them all lined up?
No, I've seen them.
Yeah.
I didn't know if you bought them like as soon as they come out, so their first editions.
Yes.
Obviously not number one, but I meant like the first within the first 100.
I don't know if I've got the first editions or not, but I've definitely got everything. And a couple of the big thick ones I've read twice too.
Really?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, it keeps me sharp.
It does, yeah.
But now I am relying on you a little bit with your magic telephone to tell me who's members of who.
Yeah. Well, I've been able to find some very interesting things on this phone, just about past and people you know and associated with. I've been able to find lots of interesting things, even from when you were in Hollywood. I didn't think those sorts of things would be on here.
Yes.
But everything's been backlogged.
Yes.
It's crazy.
David, in his last book, The Trap, is comparing. There's something called the Sachet Records. You've heard of them?
Rings a bell.
Yeah. It's where every thought, every deed, every word is recorded. And there's a place in India where you can go and they can tell you when you're going to die and blah, blah, blah.
Oh,
and
yes. You mentioned this too.
Yeah, and he is now comparing the internet with the Sachet Records. And this is strong food for thought. And it's been going, centuries. Such a long time. I mean, they've got these underground bases. We don't know what they're getting up to under there. but I'm very sure it's not in our best interests. And these sort of apparitions, I think now they're going to bring on, might revive Jesus, you know? Oh, yeah.
I'm not sure about that.
Well, they're bold and stupid enough to do anything. But see, people are waking up. They're getting savvy, especially people like you who, you know, really know the internet. Boy, now that is Tony Johnson's mum. Yes.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Can she come and talk with
Absolutely,
us?
absolutely.
Go and get her.
Do you want to...
Jean.
Hello.
Hello.
Would you like to come in? We're
Come
live
in
right now.
here. Come in here. Pull up a chair and join us.
Okay.
Do you want me to pull up a chair? I'll pull up a chair for you.
Thank you.
You take this one, actually. I'll set it up behind.
Oh, is that the capitalist?
Yes, it is. It's got a cushion on it. That's all right.
I'll be my thingy. I thought I would like to see Sybil.
Yeah.
No,
come
no.
sit down.
We've been
Oops,
at it for quite a
Oh, you
while
want to sit
now.
there because you're doing your
No, it's all right.
computer?
It's all right.
You sit here.
I can work it all from behind the scenes.
This is my very dear friend, Jean Johnson,
Yeah.
who recently lost her husband to bone cancer.
Yeah.
And she's quite fragile at the moment, but she's doing very, very well through the fragility. His name was Jim. He was a lovely, lovely human being, and someone that is, well, people die, don't they? But he was taken much too soon. But you've been busy. Haven't you?
Yeah. Trying to keep busy.
Yes, but
Yeah.
that's so good. Now, you've thought of a very, very good idea for people who are bereaved because, you know, birds of a feather, when you go out, you tend to meet people like yourself that
Yeah,
are
yeah.
bereaved, as you told me. And you have decided that you are going to form a club for
Yeah.
only bereaved people.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think that's a wonderful idea. What do you think?
It's very nice. Yeah.
Yeah.
Very nice, yes. Because bereaved people, they understand one another.
Yeah. It's very lonely. It's
So come on, you tell us about it.
I can't talk about it at the moment.
Okay?
No, I should just
we
start.
understand.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, we do a lot of tears here out of, you know, sadness and anger.
Oh, I'm angry. I'm angry as well. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and you deserve to be.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
really, really and truly.
Yeah.
You went through a bad time.
He
there,
wasn't
didn't you?
treated very well.
No,
No.
no. Could you
No.
tell us about that?
I just started crying. You
Well,
know,
that's okay. That's
he,
okay.
as I say, he had prostate cancer, which went through to his bones. And I was fighting all the time. It was not very nice. And then he come out of hospital with a bruise, and they said it was arthritis. It turned out to be gangrene. So within 5 days, it had gone right across his foot. So as well as this bone, he was dealing with that as well. And he said the foot was worse than what the bone cancer was. But
I can imagine. Yeah.
I didn't get any help. There was no help out there. No.
No. And you tried so desperately, didn't
Yeah,
you?
but I thought when he went in hospital, every time I had to ring 111, they put him in hospital. And all I wanted was a doctor to come and give him painkillers
Yes.
or a nurse. And he didn't want to go in hospital. But then I had to fight to get him back. And
Yes.
I fought the last time I fought for him. And he come home on the Friday and he died on the Saturday.
Without any
He
medication.
didn't.
Without
they
any,
took
they
his-
sent him
the
home
pain-
without any
The
painkillers, didn't
painkillers
they?
I had at home that they'd taken. Yeah. because you have to take him in hospital with you. And yeah.
So you had
He
nothing.
was put on a drive, but it wasn't strong enough apparently. So that's all he had. So you think, should I have left him in hospital? But then he wanted to be at home.
Yes.
So it's,
But those
No.
his wishes to be at home.
he had a respect form, and it was on there. He wanted to be at home. Yeah. And they rushed and they got him home within a few hours. I created and I said, he's got this respect form. And they said, okay. So we had 2 ambulances bring him home because they had to lift him up the steps. Yeah. Won't be nice at all. No. I sat up with him a lot of nights. Yeah. Yeah.
But as I said, thank God you were with him.
Yeah. 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 He just wanted to die.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And eventually you did get some help at the very last
Yeah,
day
when the
after
nurses come
he'd
out,
suffered dreadfully.
she come
hadn't
out.
he?
His driver ran out at night, in the night. Good thing Tony was there because he heard it beeping. I would have gone to bed and he would have been left with nothing. And anyway, they called these 2 nurses out, which were at Eastbourne and weren't very nice. And anyway, they didn't do it strong enough. And then the district nurse, the other one, come out on the Saturday morning and she said, that's not strong enough. And she, don't get stronger. Yeah. And then he was, and she said to me, put some music on for him. I did. And he just went, shh. I went, yeah. Not very nice. Yeah.
But no, and it must have been awful for you, witnessing, a man that, you've been married to how many years?
57.
That.
I've known him over 60.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and you've bred 3 children with him. I mean, you've experienced the highs of life, the lows of life, and at the end, that he should have suffered that way. It was so sad, so terribly sad, and I feel for you.
Every
Dreadfully.
morning I got out, I thought, well, I used to sort of sit with him. If I wasn't sitting with him at night, I would keep getting up every couple of hours, and Tony was up as well, keeping an eye on him, and I kept thinking, hope he's gone, and I'll get up.
Yeah.
He's gone in his sleep. I hope so.
I'm frightened to come back and face him in that pain again.
Yeah.
I can understand.
Yeah.
And it was so unnecessary.
Yeah.
So unnecessary.
I was told if he died in hospital, I wouldn't have had all that. But then
How do you know?
I would have regretted not having him at home.
Of course you would. And he wanted to come home.
Yeah.
And there was no reason why he couldn't come home with the driver, with the adequate morphine inside of it.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what it's there for.
Yeah. Yeah. But wasn't really nice at all. No. When he went to sleep, after the carers had been in, they used to make him comfortable, but it's very painful for him when they moved him. And he always had a smile on his face. He never complained.
No.
Never. No. Yeah.
No, he was a marvelous man. I remember the nice conversations I had with him. And he was nobody's fool, was he?
No.
He knew exactly what was going on in the world today.
Yeah. He was diagnosed with Alzheimer's a few
He
years
didn't
ago.
have Alzheimer's.
He-
No way.
You explained
way.
things to him. He was fine. Yeah.
Have Alzheimer's.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, they get money when they diagnose that. It's all big
Yeah.
business.
Yeah. It's not a place to go.
No.
I keep trying. I'm having a bad day today. I had quite a good day yesterday, but I get my good and bad days.
Well,
Yeah.
listen, it's a bad day, but I'm
That's all
so
right.
I'm
I'll go
so
up
glad you came in
I'll
to
go up and
do
see
this.
Sybil. It's not raining today. I'm not going to get wet today.
No, listen, I'm so glad you came by. I really am, because this is going to go all over the world. Do you realize how you're going to help people
No, yeah, it's
by describing what you have described?
yeah.
I mean, it's quite incredible, and I think you're so brave to come here. So terribly brave.
You just wanted that backup. We were supposed to have the hospice, but they were absolutely useless.
Yeah.
So you was on your own, really.
Thank God you did have Tony there with you.
Yeah. Oh, I couldn't have done it without him.
Well, you could have done, and you would have done, but it was better that he was with you.
I said, don't matter what, I'll be there to the end.
Of course you would.
Yeah. I'm paying for it now. Still, never mind.
Would you rather not have done it?
No.
Well, then go.
No, I would have done it right to the end.
So
I said I was in it to the end.
Well, you competed that, and you stood by your word. You could have panicked and said, "Take him away. I can't manage. I can't."
No.
A lot of people would.
I would have, no, I was there.
So listen, you go and get a bottle of champagne.
I don't drink. No.
You should be so proud of yourself.
Mm.
You did what he asked. You were there for him.
Yeah. It's the worst cancer you can have, apparently.
Yeah, so I have heard.
Mm.
Yes, so I have heard.
Yeah.
Most unpleasant. But look at it now. His worries are over, and he's right here with us.
Yeah. He was very courageous. He kept walking around, although he was in pain, right up to the last 2 months where he was actually bedridden. But he was, I'm going to do this. I said to him, I'm going to put your bed downstairs. No, you're not. So I go up there. And then, of course, he couldn't in the end. He couldn't even go outside in the end. No, that'd be nice. Because lockdown done a lot of it. Because I couldn't get him out.
Of course.
I couldn't get him out. He wanted to be out.
Yeah.
He couldn't go out. Yeah.
No.
And we have
good old lockdowns killed a hell of a lot of people.
Yeah. So it was indoors about 4 years, I suppose. Just walking around the block, or just here and there.
But you deserve a medal the size of a hubcap.
Yeah.
Really.
Yeah.
I told you you're going to have bad days.
Oh,
and then you're going to have good
yeah.
days, and eventually you have more good days
yesterday.
than bad days.
Yeah. I was fine yesterday.
And you're going to be fine today.
I was all, I thought, I've got to see Sybil.
I'm so glad you did. Isn't it wonderful, Max, that Jean came by? Max has never met Tony yet.
Oh, haven't you?
Everybody talks about Tony. Everyone knows Tony. Tony is just like this figure to me. He doesn't exist to me. I don't know. I've never met him. Everyone knows him though.
Yeah, I can't get him out. He just sort of locked himself away. I'm told that's the way he's dealing with it. So
yeah, he'll come out. He's a strong man.
Douglas has gone back to work now. He had time off. He's gone back. Yeah. It affected the 2 boys more than it did my daughter. Yeah.
Well, she's got a young baby, hasn't she? The survival
she's got
thing. She's got to be all right.
Grandson, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, but she's she was there that morning, and she said goodbye to him, and then she said, "I've got to go." And she went.
Yeah.
Just me and Tony there. And he went. Yeah.
But you and Tony are going to be fine as soon as you get your room decorated.
Oh. I went for the plaster to dry out. Oh dear. Tony decided when Jim died, he would redecorate the room. He died in the dining room. We made it into a bedroom for him. He had to get rid of a lot of stuff. And he said, I'll pull the paper off. I don't know why he pulled the paper off the wall, but he did, and the plaster come off with it. So I rang the council, and they said they couldn't do it until the end of October. This was July. So a couple of weeks ago, I rang a friend of ours. He's a plasterer. He said, come up and do it. And he done it in a couple of hours. The council wanted 2 days. I don't know why he done it. I mean, he's a professional plasterer. Now we're waiting for it to dry out before we can do anything else.
So then
I'll get my new carpet, which has been on order since July.
No, you get it off, and I bet you 10 to 1 I will put money on this. Becomes Christmas. Tony would get the decorations down.
Oh, we
from
can't put
her.
any decorations on the ceiling because he's painted it.
Little holes in the wall.
Yeah.
Well, he'll find another way because he specializes at that
Oh.
sort of thing.
It's like
And-
Santa's grotto.
And you'll be much, much stronger. Yeah, of course you will.
They've all said they're all coming over to me for Christmas. I said, oh, that's nice.
Well, I'd
more
say
work.
yes. Well, you're going to do the cooking. I'm putting my feet up.
Yeah,
That's
I
what I
normally do
would
it all.
say.
Yeah. Never mind.
No, this.
We'll get over it. I've got to move forward. I know that. I've got to.
Yes, but you are. Don't be hard on yourself. You are moving
Yeah,
forward.
Yeah,
You've got this terrific idea of getting bereaved people together.
Yeah.
So they can
yeah.
have a cup of tea or a glass of wine and talk about these experiences the way you are,
Yeah.
which is very healthy to talk
Yeah,
about it.
yeah,
Very, very
yeah.
healthy.
I try to block it out.
So
Sometimes.
this,
I think
No, that's
the wrong-
unhealthy. To
that's
block
the
it
wrong
out,
thing to
that's
do.
unhealthy.
Yeah.
this club that you're talking about, is this for widows or anyone who's just lost a family?
Lost the. Yeah.
And so many people have lost people
When I
with the
talk to
pandemic
people,
and
I get,
these jolly
oh, yeah,
jabs.
I've just lost so and so. Oh, yeah, you just got to talk to people, and they tell you. And I thought, there's so many people out there. Yeah.
But I know when I lost my mother, some very, very good no hope. They said, don't make any decisions, important
No,
decisions for a
no.
year.
No,
Don't
No.
do it.
no, I can't anyway. I
Mm.
can't even concentrate properly to do, settle down
Yeah.
to do anything. So,
Listen,
Yeah.
you're coming out every day. That in
yes,
itself
I go
is
out every
healthy.
day. I said to Tony, I must stay and do some housework somewhere. Don't worry about it. He said,
No, you're coming out every day.
Mm.
This is your way of dealing with it.
Mm,
And as soon as you can get that club going, the better. And I told you, any help I can possibly be, I'm there for you. You know I
thank
am.
you. Thank you.
Now, Tony's dealing with it the way he likes
Evil,
to do it.
yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
And we can't force him to try and do it any other way. It would be bad for him.
Mm.
But once he gets those decorations up at Christmas and gets his family around here, you'll see such a difference. in
Yeah,
him.
yeah. Yeah.
Don't worry about him.
He'll be all right. Yeah. I've got to look after me now. So I was told yesterday, you look after you.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because if you don't
I
look
don't
after
want to go through that experience again. I said to Jim, would you look after me if this was on, then turn around the other way? Of course I would, he said. Yeah, no question.
Yeah.
I thought, yeah, that's why I'm looking after you. So, yeah.
well, it's about marriage vow in sickness and in health.
Yeah.
And you've honoured those vows.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't.
No.
No, you be proud of yourself
Mm.
because he's very proud of you. And he's sitting right here with us. I'll tell you.
Yeah. And so I had a box of all this stuff. They call it just in case.
Uh-huh.
But I couldn't get anybody to come out to do it. I couldn't do it. I wasn't allowed to do that. So I should have trained to done it to do it. No. Never mind. So, no. Yeah.
But
I
yesterday,
was tempted. I was very tempted to give him the bottle of morphine one night. And I thought, don't do that. But I was very tempted. Yeah.
I think any human being would be
Mhm.
very tempted.
And you see him some mornings when you got out, well, when you went down to him, if it was in the middle of the night, when you think he was got a pillow over his head, he was trying to, yeah, he didn't have the strength, I don't think. But, yeah, yeah.
But you did have
You
that.
find pillows all over the floor in the morning. The glasses were all knocked out. He got plastic cup in the end because the glass that we keep clearing up. Yeah, we don't know what he was throwing them at. And he told me he wasn't on his own. Tony said to him, all down here on your own. Then he said, I'm not on my own.
Yeah.
Yeah. Weird things happened a few
Yeah,
days before.
the spirits, you see. I mean,
Yeah. Really
they
weird.
say there's always somebody there. You might not even know him, but we don't pass alone.
Mm,
There's somebody there to,
mm,
accompany us. Whether that's true or not, I don't know, but it's rather nice thought. And so much, all I know is I know nothing at all.
Yeah.
For all my
nephew-
studying, I know nothing. But it's a comforting thought, and I do think that we manifest
Yeah,
things.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. My nephew passed away last October. He's the same age as me, and his mum said to him, she's still alive. She's 100 next month, and she said, she said, I wonder what it is like to die. He said, I don't know. I'll die and find out, shall I? Yeah.
But
So he didn't come back to tell us, did he?
But so many people have died, and they come back and tell us about the experience.
My mother's a nurse. She is a community carer, so she goes to people's houses whose last wishes are to stay at home. And she's been with a lot of people in their last times, and she says a lot of the time they see people, they never feel alone. It's very strange. Because I'm personally not religious, but people do see family who have long passed away before they go. It's
I don't think
know how
you
to
have to be
explain it.
religious to experience something like that. I don't think afterlife has anything to do with religion, quite frankly. You
Are
know.
you religious?
Not really.
No.
No. Give or take it. But
Well, I believe in the forces of good and the forces of evil.
yeah.
And right now we are very, very much in the forces of evil.
Mm.
And the only way we will combat that is en masse to project the force of good, love, whatever the other words for it. And I think that can be done. Because people are waking up, they really are waking up.
Yeah. Yeah. I was told years ago, a very young girl I worked with, she was very religious, and she said, when we die, you cannot kill your spirit, because she said we are energy. And she said, you can't kill energy.
No, we are just energy inside of a computer. Everything is energy, and nothing is solid. I mean, they go through mountains. Nothing is solid. So, you know, when we die, this energy leaves and goes somewhere else, maybe into another computer or body, you know, or maybe somewhere
I
else.
don't like spiders, and I see a spider now, and I say to Tony, leave it might be Jim.
Don't talk to him about spiders.
You don't like spiders.
He's
Oh.
petrified of them,
No,
and they
no.
always seem to sort him out too.
They're always attracted to me. They always are.
Oh dear.
Yeah.
I've been bitten by a few spiders. It is not nice.
No, I think they can be quite dangerous.
Not in this country particularly,
No.
but they can be.
Mhm.
They're nasty.
Yes.
Even in this country, but you'll be okay.
Yeah. We'll get there.
We're already there.
It's only early days, isn't it? Early days.
And you got the ashes too, didn't you?
Oh, still at home. Yeah.
It took us a long time to.
He's in the dining room at the moment where he died on his trolley. I won't get rid of his trolley. I bought him a trolley to walk round indoors. He says the best thing I ever bought.
Yeah.
So he's sitting on that at the moment. And when the plasterer come in, he got moved in the sitting room. He gets moved around.
I'm so happy you got him back. So
I couldn't leave
happy.
him out there.
No.
No.
So I have my father's, my mother's, and my uncle's, and my little dog's ashes in my home. I find great comfort.
Yeah. Grace was very good. She said, "You just take the time. Just take your time." I said, "But that box is just degradable," and she said, "It'll be okay. Take your time." She said,
And then you and Tony can look for a nice, really nice urn for him.
Yeah.
They make some really
I haven't
beautiful
decided
ones.
what I'm going to do yet. I don't know. I keep on asking him,
You-
but he doesn't tell me. He said to me, this was months before he passed away, he said, I said to him, "What do you want? Your funeral, what do you want?" And he said, "I'm going to be cremated, of course." And I said to him, "What are we going to do with that afterwards? What are we going to do with you afterwards?" He said, oh, I don't care. Put me in sting nettles if you like. So now I've got this problem. What do I do with him? Because I said to him, as he was dying, I said to him, I'm not putting you in the sting nettles.
Well, I have something for you. My grandparents have already decided what they want to do.
yeah,
They want to be
it
cremated.
does make life easier.
Yeah, they want to be cremated and put into fireworks.
Oh,
and
yes,
be shot
yeah.
off
Yeah,
into the sky.
yeah. They done that, didn't they, with that man from the Bonfire Society?
What happened?
They put him in fireworks on bonfire night. They let him off.
Oh, no, I like my mum and dad where they are. I don't want to shoot them up there.
Where are they?
They're in my bedroom on the side there, in a lovely urn that my mother bought for my father. And then when my mother died, a friend of mine came over from America with an urn. He bought it like a vase or something, my darling Rod Dayton. And he came and I said, my mother's just died, you know. Oh, maybe I shouldn't give you this. He was embarrassed about the whole thing,
no.
you know.
Wait, so it was supposed to be for flowers?
Yes,
Oh,
yeah.
no.
And so I have these two beautiful urns, and one, my uncle, who I rather liked, is there, and my little Jody dog. Yes, she's got. So some people, you know, have seen them and get out of here, you know, and they can't sort of take
I
it.
should have brought Jim. I should have brought the poem up that Tony wrote about him. Everything about him is in that poem. I didn't think about it. Yeah.
Yes, they read it at the
Funeral. Yeah.
funeral. Yes,
Yeah.
which was beautifully done, I thought.
Yeah.
Absolutely beautiful.
Ian framed it. Ian asked for a copy and he's framed it.
Yes.
He said that's an inspiration.
Mm,
So
yeah.
yeah, I should have to get Tony to download you a copy.
I'd really like that if you
Yeah.
could tell him to drop one
Yeah.
up for me. I'd really
Yeah,
appreciate
then you can
that.
read it one day.
Mm,
Yeah.
yeah. No, I think, you know, we've had these conversations since Jim died, and I think you're doing really well.
Yeah.
You got a
Yeah.
rough day, but look, you've come here to tell this story, and you've got no idea how this is going to help
Uh-huh.
people. Really.
Yeah.
Am I right or wrong?
You're
Yes.
Mm.
I mean, you're a very brave lady.
Oh, well, I've been told that.
Very, very
Yeah.
brave, darling.
The undertaker said to me, "You're a fighter." I said, "Yeah."
Yeah.
I said, "No, I won."
Mm.
I said, "I got him home. Twice I had to fight for him, get him home."
Yeah.
First time he was in hospital for 6 weeks because he had so much pain that they took him in hospital because he'd had radiotherapy and it didn't help at all.
Wouldn't do.
And he, when they'd done the scans and that, they found out that bone cancer had gone further. So
Yeah, and the radiotherapy didn't exactly help.
I kept
out, did it?
thinking, he nearly went a few days before, and he had this chest infection, and I thought he's just had radiotherapy, that causes that. So that's when they took him in hospital because of the pain, and that's when I said to him, I said to the doctor, give him a chance, because he's had this radiotherapy and it takes 5-6 weeks to work. And anyway, it didn't work, did it?
Yeah. But at the very, very last there, when it was excruciating pain, and he was, you know, minutes virtually away from death. You told me that you said to him, can I repeat what you said?
I can't remember. My brain
You
goes.
said, listen, Jim, you must go now. Tony and
Oh
I
yeah,
will be all
yeah,
right.
I did. I
I
told
thought
him he
that
could
was
go.
so touching,
The
and
Friday.
he died. Boom, like that.
Yeah, I told him he could go. I said we'll be fine. And my niece is a nurse, and she said, "You will not die all the time he's in pain." She said, "You don't die when you're in pain because you're fighting."
Yeah.
Yeah, and he just put that music on. And he just went. Yeah.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
listen, this is so trite of me to say, but I'm going to say it anyway. Think of all the cracking good times you and Jim
Oh
had
yeah.
together.
Yes. Oh yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
raising those kids, the highs, the lows.
Oh
And I mean, a marriage to last that long, and what an achievement.
yeah.
How
At
old
fir-
were you when you got married?
21. Yeah, he was 25. Yeah.
How old was he when he passed away?
85, 86. Yeah. 85, it would have been 86 this November. Yeah. 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 It was a horrible way to go, though, isn't it?
Is there a good way?
Well, if you have a heart attack, you don't know nothing about it, do you?
They
You
said
just-
it's pretty painful. Though.
Really? Yeah.
I think probably the best way to go is a bullet through the brain. That's pretty permanent and quick.
Yeah. I used to say to him, if you was a doctor, put you down. Yeah, you know, and I did say to him one day, I'll take you to Switzerland.
Yeah.
Can't get there, he said.
Well, what a terrible thing is to have to get on a plane and go all the way to Switzerland to end your
Yeah.
own life. Oh,
Yeah, he was going to go anyway, so wouldn't it been better for him to have gone peacefully, gone, you know, before all this? Mind. Done now.
no pain anymore.
No.
He's there
Yeah,
with you on the trolley.
I'm trying.
Yeah.
Yeah. I said good morning to him. I told him I was coming up here to see you.
Oh, did
Yeah,
you?
I talked to him, but I don't get an answer. Yeah, I don't get an answer.
Well, there might be one when you get home. You never know.
Yeah.
No, I can't stress enough how brave you are to come here and put yourself on national television. It goes all over. Go to America. It goes everywhere. And the good that you are going to do for other people, right?
Yeah. I say you just got to carry on, haven't you? You just got to get over it. And yeah, somebody said to me the other day, "You don't want to let go." I said, "No, it was me that was keeping him going." And then I think when I told him he could go, that was, oh yes, okay then.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So do
I
that to
think-
yourself now. Do that to yourself. Let it go. Let it go.
Go. Yeah.
It was a battle you went through, and
Oh,
it was
yes.
a big experience that you went through.
Yeah. No. We should get there.
You're already there.
Yeah.
You're already there. Believe me, I know the power of what you're doing, and to reach as many people as you will reach with this is incredible, isn't it, Max? Absolutely incredible.
Yeah.
Have a hug.
Oh, I got one for Sonny down the shop the other day. I went down there, he said, "Come here, you." The man in charge of the shop down there, "Come here, you." And he's, I think it's his sister-in-law. She said, "What was that about?" And he said she needed that. All right, and she said,
Oh, we all need hugs, darling. I
Yeah.
tell you, do we
Yeah.
ever? We don't get
Yeah.
enough affection.
Then first few weeks, I kept going up to Tony, "Come on, give us a hug." And he's so strong. I thought, he's so strong he is.
He works
Yeah.
out with the weights. He's
Yeah.
toughy.
Yeah. Yeah. All right now, I said, yeah, for a few minutes. Yeah.
Anyway, this club that you're starting, you've already made some progress, haven't you?
Well, I think I found a room. I've got to ring somebody to find that out. But I've never done anything like this before. I've always joined them. I haven't actually run them.
Well,
So it's
it's a whole new experience for you.
yeah.
And who is possibly, more equipped to do it than you after what you've been through. No, you'll come through with flying colours.
I hope so.
Definitely.
Yeah. I
And-
did panic a bit yesterday because I thought I've never done anything like this. So I just have to play it
What
by
are you
ear.
calling it?
I don't know. No, I
Think
don't
of a
know.
title,
I will, I'll put some thought into that,
please, Max. Yes.
Yeah.
Bit of young energy behind this, it would be very good.
Yeah.
Isn't he nice? 18. 18. I told you he
Oh,
was
yes.
lovely, didn't I?
Yeah.
I can't even remember ever being 18.
You can't even. I can remember being 18 a long time ago. Yeah.
I mean, I was very, very shy, and it came
So
over,
did I.
and it came over as a sort of arrogance,
Mm.
which it does with some young people until they get themselves sorted out. Yeah, but so many opportunities. Too shy, I didn't dare tell my sister. She'd have killed me.
I used to be quite shy when I was young.
Did you?
Used to be very shy, yeah.
Oh, you're not shy now.
No, I don't know what changed, but something changed.
You're hosting a show on television.
Yeah. It changed.
And he's learned all this in how long? Since April?
Yeah, April. I started.
Yeah, he's done some fine work on here, I tell you. But Keith, he'd push you over a cliff, I tell you. It's gone, on you go. On you go. And threw him in at the deep end, and he swam.
Yes, luckily.
Yeah. Isn't that best sometimes?
Oh, I think it's the only way, actually, with people, and especially on a stage, if you kind of, nervous, you don't know what you're doing, on the stage, they used to push you on. I mean, you'd break a leg. They were pretty rough, get on.
Yeah.
And nerves were not tolerated because, their living was dependent on it. I mean, we can't have you falling apart with nerves. We're not going to get paid at the end of the week.
Yeah, I try and keep mine. I try and keep relaxed when my shoulders start going out. Relax. I learned all this years ago. They do this relaxation thing years and years ago. Yeah. So they thought I'd got depression and that years ago, and it wasn't. It was a hormone imbalance.
Really?
And they treated me with all these drugs and then
Yeah.
the doctor admitted it was hormone imbalance. I said, at least you admitted it. I said, most doctors wouldn't admit it.
No.
Said, but he did. Yeah, so I learned all this. Yeah.
That's quite a thing to get wrong.
Yeah.
Yes, it is. Yeah, we'll go screw somebody's life up terribly with that.
Yeah.
And then, come on, look what they're doing today with this.
Yeah.
Depressed, have this, failure. It's so addictive.
Yeah.
And, the school system now. 2-year-old children. Do you want to be a boy or do you want to be a girl?
Oh, isn't it ridiculous? Oh, come off it.
I've just come out of the education system 4 months ago. So this is all fresh on my mind. Everything that I'm watching my younger siblings very carefully, because I have a few. I'm watching my younger siblings very carefully and constantly asking them what they're learning in school. Because I just came out of college. I've got siblings in secondary school, primary school. So I'm being very vigilant with what they're being taught, trying to at least, because they are being taught some ridiculous things.
It's just petrifying, and then they're putting them on these, stopping them from coming into puberty.
Hormone blockers.
Yeah, as young as 5 years of age. I mean, what sort of a world are we living in, Gene?
Well, you know what? That's what Michael Jackson was put on to keep him
babyish.
Yeah. And look how he turned out. Very well, I think.
Oh, he's so screwed up, poor fellow.
Yeah.
And that happens a hell of a lot in show business. I mean, look what they did to Judy Garland. Do you remember when she was young? Oh, I mean, she had puppy fat, and they were putting her on these incredible drugs to try and. Oh, it was part of puberty.
Yeah,
puppy fat, baby fat. And it's the hormones, and putting her on slimming tablets and all that screwed her brain up and worked her to death. That's why she turned into an alcoholic and couldn't hack it anymore, Dreadful things they did just to make money.
Oh, it's one question I got asked, years ago, when you said I got all this depression and one thing and another. And I went to a psychiatrist. I was talking to her, and she said to me, I only went once. She said, do you go and hold the bar up? Do you go in the pub and hold the bar up? I said, no. She said, because people do that to forget. And I said to her, I don't drink. She went, oh, I don't want to see you anymore. Yeah. Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
No, there's a lot of people out there that
Yeah.
paid to destroy your mind.
Yeah.
Once the
Yeah.
schooling system's got through with you, then I mean, look how they screwed Tony up.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, terrible things he went through. He used to tell me.
Yeah. Yeah, we had that with Tony.
Mm,
What, 12 years ago?
yeah.
About 10 years ago. Yeah. Yeah.
How old is Tony?
He's 49, isn't he?
Yeah.
I think.
49.
Yeah. 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 He had gallstones.
Oh, it was terrible.
He
He
kept
went.
going in hospital.
Mhm.
I kept sending him home. I kept sending him back. After 2 or 3 days, I sent him back. He was put on this fat-free diet. It was just vegetables that he was having. He went down like a stick insect. And every time, as I say, a couple of days, I sent him back. He'd end up at the hospital for morphine injections. And then they said to me, "Do you know how much this ambulance costs?" I said, "I don't care." I said, "Don't keep sending him home." Because I said, "I should keep sending him back."
Mhm.
And eventually, they said they'd operate. And then when they did, he got gangrene. He hadn't got a gallbladder. It had all gone to mush.
Oh.
He got gangrene. And then it went...
To the pancreas.
Yeah. And he got his pancreas draining into his stomach now. So he's okay now. Years later. But it was...
Well, we saw
Yeah.
him through that, didn't we? You and I.
Yeah,
Do you
he
remember?
was intensive care. You could not see him for wires.
Mm.
And this helmet he had on. And I said, he got me in that.
Mm.
A helmet.
Yes,
Yeah,
it was.
an air thing,
and
air
he-
pressure.
Oh yeah, he said, "I wish I'd had someone take a picture of me in this thing."
He wouldn't let us take pictures of him. We had to get permission, because where he was, to take pictures, and we were limited who could go in to see him. And me and Jim went down every day to see him, but he was very ill. He nearly died twice.
Mm.
Yeah, but he's okay now. He's quite strong now.
He's
No,
right now as strong as a bull. He lifts those
Yeah,
weights all day
yeah.
long.
Yeah, and then Douglas, the other boy, he had COVID. Yeah, and he was living at London. They had to take him to another borough because they hadn't. He would have had to wait 5 hours, and the ambulance man said he hadn't got 5 hours. So he was on all this stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he survived, but he still got long-term COVID.
Mm.
Yeah.
And I've been reading the Fauci book, by Kennedy.
Robert Kennedy.
Yes, and they have a drug which the president took, Trump took,
Mm.
when they said he had COVID. And he said, it's so cheap, it should be given away, and it fixes you up just like that. What is it called, that now?
Ivermectin.
Ivermectin, that
Pretty
is
clever.
it. Oh, you don't mess with him, I tell you, he knows the lot. And ivermectin, yes, and if you give it in its first stages, it cures it within a matter of an
Yeah.
hour.
Be careful of your foot.
But
It's on the wire. Be careful of your foot. It's on the wire. There we go. Yeah, just that's fine. You just try on the wire. That's all.
Yeah. And Fauci stopped him. No, he said, no, it's wrong. It doesn't work, and it does more harm than good, because he wanted to sell his injections, you see.
Mm.
But it's a virtual cure, boom, like
Yeah.
that out there.
Yeah. Yeah.
But they won't let it on the market because they want to sell these jolly jab, which are killing people left, right, and centre.
Mm.
And now you've got to have one and everything will be back to normal. Or no, you've got to have two. Now you've got to have three.
They've got
And
up to
now-
5 now, I think.
Yeah, whatever. And now they're trying to bring on these vaccine passports, where you see, and the unvaccinated now are treated just like the Jews were in the last World War. Stay away. They're vermin. They're vermin. Don't talk to those people. They're terrible. They have to be exterminated. And this is what they want to do with the unvaccinated.
I actually lost friends because I chose not to get the COVID vaccine.
Oh, you would do?
Yeah, I lost friends because I've got every other vaccine there is. I got the flu shot recently because of my asthma. The only vaccine I've never taken was the COVID one. That's the only one I've never taken.
Because you took the trouble to read what was in it.
The other ones I trust. If I were to go to like an African country, I'd absolutely take the malaria vaccine or whatever it is. Just that I didn't, not taking the COVID one. And I lost friends because of it. And even family were ridiculing me. And it was quite strange.
Yeah.
It tore families apart. It really did.
Oh, yes. And will continue to do so.
If you ask the medical profession if they've had this, a lot of them say no.
Yes, my mum works as a nurse for a private company, and they had to fire quite a few staff members because they wouldn't get it. And then they had to import a whole bunch of new staff members from the Philippines because there weren't enough staff.
Yeah.
That's,
Yes,
that's a
it's
private.
because this is a bioweapon. COVID is not. COVID has a 99.9% recovery rate. It's like the flu. Now, if you're elderly and you've got chest problems, then the flu, ordinary flu, might take you away. You know, this is a fact of life because it is a part corona. It is a part of the cold. And they have never been able to cure a common cold.
No, because there's so many different viruses apparently, and they change themselves, don't they?
Yeah. Anyway, this is just big business, and I knew it right from the off. When I came into town and everything was locked down, I never watched the BBC or any of those other stations.
Yes. Did Liza tell you about this? She didn't know lockdown happened.
I didn't know.
I know, she was going out.
Yeah.
I could imagine
I
how
thought I was
strange
on
that must
another
have
planet.
been.
Yeah.
I think, am I not well? You know, it was only when I got
There's
to
nobody else.
no cars,
cars.
no people, nothing.
All
It
the
was quite
shops
nice,
boarded
actually,
up.
wasn't it?
Yeah.
Shops shut.
Shops, yeah.
It was
So I
quiet.
was coming up here for a coffee. And then stop Waitrose, and it's all, you know, chatting up. There's people standing there with the mask on. What is it here? You know, and I did, and then suddenly, bingo, the penny dropped. David Icke predicted this 30 years ago. The man predicted
It's in the
this.
Doomsday Book, apparently, that would happen.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
would be a bit surprised. No. But, you know, and the fact that they can close down an entire nation in 48 hours, you know it's been planned, don't you? You know.
Yeah.
You know it. Hello,
Oh, yeah. Here, mate.
how are you?
Yes, good, thank you.
Do you want to be on television?
Oh, no, thank you.
If you want to grab a drink, go to the front desk. That's most people's reactions a lot of the time.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad I come up to see you.
It was very nice to meet you.
Yeah.
And to be continued.
Yes. Yeah.
Definitely.
I'll give you a copy of that poem.
Please do.
Yeah. Yeah. Think you can read it out. What we want.
Lovely. Thank you so much for coming,
That's all right,
Reggie.
Sybil.
Thank you. Yeah.
Okay.
To be continued. Don't forget your cardigan.
Oh, yeah. So, this one.
Did you knit that?
Yeah, I had it on when Jim went in hospital.
Uh-huh.
And we used to prop his legs up.
Mm-hmm.
And this is what I used to prop his legs up because there was nothing else to use in hospital. When he was at home, he had 10 pillows.
Yeah. That I can believe.
Yeah. I do that too on the floor in the morning. Don't know who he's throwing them at, but there we are. Okay. Thank you. Nice to
Bye-bye,
see you.
darling. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Lovely to meet
I'm
you.
going to have a little walk there, then I'm going home. Get some dinner. Okay. Yeah, it's nice to meet you. What's your name?
Max.
Max.
Thank
Bye-bye, dear.
Thank you.
Nice to meet you.
Bye.
I am so glad that she came by.
There we go.
What
Yeah.
a brave lady.
Yeah, that was very nice.
Very brave.
There we go.
Here we are. Where were we?
I don't know, but it's 11:02. It's the end of the show.
Oh, coffee time.
Coffee time, yes. Well, this has been a very good show. This is the third one. It's almost been a month of this show. Isn't
Has
that
it really?
strange?
Good
Yeah.
heavens, seems like we started yesterday.
It's crazy. I know.
Yes, no, I really, really enjoy working with you, Max. You know that. I mean, you know. And we've got a long way to go, but I think maybe we're
A lot
getting
more to discuss.
I think maybe we're getting a few messages out there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, thank you so much for joining me again, and I hope to see you again next Thursday.
We definitely will.
All right.
Thank you, Max.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you very much for watching.
Thank you. Thank you.